Hey everyone, Tech Rally here, and today I want to share with you my front-end developer roadmap. This took about 2.5, 3 weeks for me to come up with, and it's not my courses or anything like that, but what I did was I kind of took a step back and asked myself, what would be the minimum skills necessary for you to be a front-end developer? So I looked into a lot of different resources, whether it's paid through Udemy, free courses on YouTube, Coding Phase. I kind of curated that all together and integrated some little ideas that I think would be helpful for you to have as either personal projects or projects that you should work on that can really help you kind of up your level outside of this tutorial hell. Let's dive into it. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Other than that, let's get started. So before I get started on the details of the front-end developer roadmap, I got to give you more information about where to find it. I actually built out a website called techrally.co, and I'm going to go into more details about that in future videos. But for now, if you want access to the front-end developer roadmap, all you have to do is put in your full name and email and just submit. It really helps me out as well because it's going to give you guys updates whenever I post or any new links that I want to share with my community. So now let's get into the front-end developer roadmap. Now, in the front-end developer roadmap, what I do is I break down the sequences in 3 different phases. The first phase is HTML and CSS. The second phase is JavaScript. The third phase is going to be a front-end framework like React. And then I include an optional phase where if you want to learn some backend technologies, you can kind of do that. But like I said, this is a front-end developer roadmap, and that is why the phase 4 is going to be optional. I do want to emphasize that, number one, please do not skip out on these personal projects because this is the best way for you to learn by building projects. I emphasize that so much in a lot of my videos. Don't just go from tutorial to tutorial to tutorial to tutorial. What you want to do is finish out the phase completely. So when you do all your tutorials, you should have enough skills to build out your own personal project. And I'll go into more detail as we go through each phase. Definitely read the introductions and the details of the front-end developer roadmap, but I kind of broke it down into 4 little subcategories. If it has a fire emoji, this is a Coding Phase course. If it has a video camera, then it's a free YouTube video. If it's a box, then it's going to be some other paid courses. And if it's just a little human with a little laptop in front of it, that's going to be a personal project challenge that I think can really be helpful when you're learning how to code. So let's go into phase 1 and go into more details of which courses I think would be helpful for you. The first course that I think is going to be super helpful is this Introduction to HTML and CSS. This course is from 2019, and yes, it's old, but just because it's old doesn't mean it's not good. It is about 11 hours and 30 minutes, and trust me when I say this, you want to probably watch all of it, but don't feel like you need to watch all of it in one go. This video was created by someone from Free Code Camp, and they go really in depth about HTML, CSS, even just setting up your Visual Studio Code. I personally think that getting this kind of introduction to web development via HTML and CSS is a great way for you to kind of see, hey, do I actually enjoy this? Am I really finding value in learning this new material? Do I like that I can see me writing code and seeing some kind of output really satisfying for me? So it is a free course, and I think this is a great start to your web developer journey. If you have no knowledge of coding whatsoever, highly recommend this course. Don't feel like you have to do everything in one sitting, like I said, but 11 hours and 30 minutes. For free content, that is amazing. So let's just start from there. The second course after you finish the HTML and CSS is this Terminal for Developers. And this is a Coding Phase course. I do want to also emphasize that I don't recommend buying these courses individually. What he has is a monthly subscription to thecodingphase.com. And if you use my referral code, then I believe you get about 15 to 20% off. So with my referral code, then it's only going to cost you about $16 a month. And this second course is really helpful because you need to use your terminal in web development. And if you're not using your terminal, then you're probably not going to fully understand what it means to be a software developer. So highly recommend you to take this terminal for developers course, because it's kind of a minimum that you need to know how to use a terminal. It even says it on its course landing page that every developer needs to know the terminal. The terminal is super important because that's where you're going to be messing with Git. That's how you're going to be looking for files and folder structures. This is super important, so don't neglect terminal. And the reason why I'm emphasizing terminal so early is because I feel that on top of terminal and maybe even Git and some other things, people tend to neglect these things and just focus on the HTML, the CSS, and JavaScript, but they don't actually know how to save their projects or deploy their projects and whatnot. It's kind of like you're building out a Word document, but you never click save, or you never know where those documents are. Using the terminal will really help you navigate and kind of manage your project. So highly recommend terminal for developers. After you finish the terminal course, the third course I'm going to recommend is the modern HTML and CSS from the beginning. And this is a course on Udemy built by Brad Traversy. So hopefully by now you're going to have some HTML CSS knowledge, you have some usage of the terminal, and I really feel that this course is going to be a good gentle introduction to building a project just using HTML and CSS. What I like about it a lot is that you're going to be building out a project using Flexbox, CSS, HTML5, and even you're going to deploy a project. I think this is super helpful, and I actually think building this specific project is kind of nice because it's a big win for you when you're starting your web developer journey, and where you're going to be building out is a portfolio. So why not build out your portfolio from scratch using HTML and CSS, and let's see what you can come up with. Right now, the price is set at $109.99. From my understanding, Udemy has a lot of flash sale prices where it's like $10.99, $12.99, $15.99. So at the moment, it's a little expensive, so I'll wait it out until the prices go down. The next courses I will recommend would be number 4, 5, and 6, which is Learn HTML and CSS by Building a Cool Social Network, Advanced CSS with Flexbox and CSS Grid, and Sass Like a Pro. I think these are kind of optional, but I would still recommend them because you want to get yourself really, really familiar with HTML, CSS, and just how you want to use it. And what I really feel that you gain from this is that all the other courses you've taken previously, or just if you've only finished number 4 but haven't got to number 5, all of these things are just kind of building on top of each other. If I was in your shoes, I would try to take all of these courses as I can, and don't try to speed run through them. Try to really understand after you've taken the Brad Traversy course, okay, like this person builds out their social network using HTML layouts this way. There is no one way or one size fits all kind of category when it comes to web developments. Understand how the techniques and understand how the strategies of what different software developers do when they're building a very, very simple static website. I'm a huge proponent of using Sass, and some of these courses are very short. In some regards, I would just recommend taking them because it's not going to take you like months and months for you to finish something like this, and just being able to know a very simple but effective styling language will be really beneficial for you in the long term. Now, number 7, and this is super important here, is Git like a pro. On top of terminal, I believe that knowing Git is a must-have when you are a software developer. It's just the only way you can save your progress in your projects. Imagine like playing a Mario game and you just never are able to kind of have that midway point of just, hey, let me save my game halfway. What if you have to speed run through the whole thing and then you're just never able to save? Git is kind of that representation where you are saving parts of your project, your version history. All of that is important as a software developer. So highly recommend, again, this Git like a pro. I'm a big proponent of knowing these tools earlier than later because sometimes people are so focused on just teaching you the basics or the everyday language of JavaScript or HTML and all of that stuff, but they really neglect how to be an effective developer using the terminal and using your Git. These are things you're going to have to know to be a better developer. So I like to introduce these things earlier than later. For number 8, this is all up to you guys and girls. this is when you have to build your own project. And in this phase, I really feel that you've kind of already done this before, taking a course, but now it's up to you to build yours from scratch. In project number 1, you're going to have to build a portfolio site. This is going to be because you've already learned everything you need to know using HTML and CSS. You probably built a social website, you built a portfolio website. So in other words, you've already built one. Let's just see if you can build your own. And what I really like about this is that it's not such a crazy lift to build out your own portfolio site. Maybe you could even deploy it, which is going to be awesome. And if you want to make your website really nice, you can use some free templates. And I added some free resources and free templates in this PDF document. I can show you a quick example of some HTML5 free templates. HTML5 is a really cool website where you can kind of just download free templates that have done the CSS and the HTML and all of that stuff for you. So what you can do here is you could actually see like a live demo. And what you want to do is maybe you could build something for yourself, or in here, maybe I could write tech rally. And then here I could say, what services do I provide? And here I could talk about my YouTube and all of that jazz. And all you have to do is literally just download it here. And then you'll have access to the HTML5 templates, the CSS, and all of that. Some people might feel like this is kind of cheating where, hey, like I didn't build any of this using my own styling. And I get it. But the reality is developers aren't always designers. So you don't have to come up with the best designs. You could just take something that exists already and then kind of iterate off of that. And as a developer, that's what you're going to have to be able to do is where do you want to put your header tags and where do you want to put your p tags, all of that on order list or list and everything. I could just name off a bunch of stuff. But what's important here is can you take a look at code and adapt it to whatever your needs are? Maybe you don't want to have this specific color scheme. So you want to make yours more blue and purple. Let's see what you can do and let's see what changes you can make to make sure your changes are reflected on your portfolio project. If you don't want to use the HTML5 free resources, no problem. Come up with your own and let's just see what happens. But I think this first project where you can kind of bundle up all of the skills that you've learned through the HTML5 and CSS courses, I really think this is going to be a big win for you. Hey everyone, I'm going to put a pause in the video right here. I noticed that the video was getting kind of long, so instead of having this really long video, what I'm going to do is separate this front-end developer roadmap into 2 separate parts. Stay tuned for part 2, which is going to come out in a couple days. And if part number 2 is already out by the time you watch this video, I'll make sure to include that link in the description or maybe somewhere up here. Either way, hope you enjoyed the part 1 of the front-end developer roadmap. Stay tuned for part 2. Tech Rally out.